I want people, whether young or older, to feel like this bear community is welcoming people of color.
And we are Bears Success.
I'm Eric.
I'm Christian. This is the Bears Success show. I have a very interesting episode today because I have a nice conversation with Jean. He's the co-owner of Bears United.
Yeah, and Bears United is a clothing line created to highlight the diversity in the bear community and beyond. No matter your size, your ethnicity, and your skin color, Bears United is here to celebrate you.
Just a disclaimer, this is not a propaganda, you're not got paid,
Nope.
Nothing. You believe about body positivity, you love the thing, this mojo, this
The mandate.
about diversity, and they have similar goals, similar ideas that we have, so it would be nice to talk to them, especially they're also here in Toronto.
Yeah, so they're local. And it's a community.
How are you doing?
I'm great.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I grew up in West Africa, moved to the United States when I was 18, and just came to Canada 2 years ago. I left around the time Trump was being the life of the party in the US. So I figured, let me apply for PR and see and try my chances in Canada. And so far it's been an interesting journey. So yeah, here I am.
Well, welcome.
Yes, welcome. You're in Toronto as well, right?
Yes. I live in the West End. Yeah.
Why did you start
Yeah. Why did you start
Bear United?
Bear United?
How it started?
I've always, since I realized I was a gay man, I've always identified as a bear because it was the community that embraced me and the community that made me feel beautiful. And I realized that there were a lot of issues. I mean, the bear community is like a family, in a family you have issues that people don't speak of, and there are things that are, swept under the rug. And one of the things that alarmed me was the fact that in anything bear related, as far as promotion, marketing, or anything else, there were very little people of color. And when you go to dating sites, most of the hot list is, in major parts filled with white guys. If you go on Instagram, all the, big, beautiful bears that are featured on Instagram, in some posts are mostly white. And I was like, well, that's weird, because I know a whole lot of people who are not white, who come from different cultures, who belong to the bear community, who identify as bears, and they're not even showcased, or they don't feel as if the bear community welcomed them. And so my reaction to that was to create a line that highlights the diversity in the bear community, that highlights the beauty of cultures, multiple cultures in the bear community. And so that was the idea that emerged from creating Bears United, creating something that everybody identifies with, but the underlying common denominator is creating diversity and highlighting multiple cultures, or at least things that people of color can identify with and can resonate to. So that's how I created it with my business partner, Daniel Emond. Yeah.
How long have you been around?
Actually, we're pretty young. We're a pretty new company because we started around late 2019, early 2020. We're still a small company. We're still going through the journey of growing because it's tough having a daytime job and also having a side gig that you want to develop towards making it a daytime job. So we're just, that little engine that is trying to get into bigger prospects.
It's a very interesting project too, because it's not just a closing line. There's a message. There's something behind that.
There's a message behind it.
Very important.
Yes, I think that's the driving force behind us keeping moving and keeping going forward is the fact that we want to spread a message and we want people to resonate to that message. We want as many people as possible to feel like they are included in this community, because it's a beautiful community. It's a wonderful community. It's a community that embraces not just flaws, but the beauty in being yourself, being, whatever size you are, whatever culture you're from. It's sort of a very inclusive community. And I want people to know that, to understand that, and not feel like because they belong to a site and they're ostracized in a particular site, it is a reflection of a bear community. I want people, whether young or older, to feel like this bear community is welcoming people of color.
Yeah, interesting. I think that in many situations, guys think with that head,
the lower head,
not this head. That's, I think, is a bigger problem we have, because for us, Pedersen says, sometimes we see some actual awkward behaviors or comments in posts. We see people, is this a bear? This is not a bear. Or this kind of negative things. People messaging us, we're going to stop following you because I don't think you post many bears. I said, but it's relative.
Yeah, it's about body positivity. So
exactly,
it's not just bears.
And the guy himself, he wasn't really a bear. Technically, if you think about body fight, he wouldn't be considered, but we think bear is a state of mind. It's not about necessarily a body type. Because sometimes guys have the body of a bear, but they're not bears. No. And some guys, they have nothing technically, the stereotype. They're way more bears than others. So we can't just, you're not.
Yeah.
If you think you are, if you're happy, if you feel part of it, why not?
And I do believe that that's the thing. First of all, like I said, it's a community, it's a family. And so, in any family you have issues, and, whether which range from mental health, body acceptance, or, what have you. But also it's a family that allows people to feel like they belong to, they have a sense of belonging. And, even a hairless person who loves big hairy guy can be accepted as a member of a bear community. He may be an otter or a cub or whatever, but it's that sense of being accepted in a community, because first of all, going through the journey of being gay is not easy, because you're ostracized because of your sexuality. And so if you belong to a community, to the gay community, and then you're being ostracized because of your body, it's it's added pressure into accepting yourself and having a sense of self, period, because you're looking at the family that you want to belong to rejecting you because of your body. And it's frivolous, and it's wrong, it's toxic. And so basically the goal of Bears United is at least attempting to break down those barriers and say, hey, being Black or being Asian or being Hispanic doesn't matter. As long as you feel like you belong to the bear community, we will celebrate you.
Yeah, because interesting, I learned that years ago that you come out twice, right? You come out as a gay man and come out as a bear. Because by the time you realize, for many years I didn't know, I have a funny taste. I don't like what usually people tend to like. So it's kind of funny doubts you go through. And then you realize, actually, it's fine. So it's easy to come out both ways. And then you realize sometimes within a community that some guys can be very mean. That's why I said about people thinking the other head, because the negative, we got so many negative comments on Bear 401, Bear WW, about my size, because I was showing my belly, all those things. It was very sad to see people telling me I should lose weight. People don't know me. Oh, we should lose weight, but you don't know me. What are you talking about?
They don't know if he's trying to or not. They just look and say the first thing that comes to their mind.
The thing about being, starting with being gay, it's a journey in itself, because in my opinion, compared to heterosexuals, we're going through a journey of maturity at a later age. I mean, if we take out maybe Generation Z's where, being gay is more accepted, you go through self-acceptance and accepting who you are sexually, mentally, psychologically at a much later age. And that comes with, a whole lot of consequences, a whole lot of things where, you're an adult, a full-grown adult, but sometimes you think like a teenager. And so if you add the pressure of your peers telling you this is the standard of beauty, and if you don't abide by that, you don't belong here, it messes you up psychologically because you feel like you're not worthy of that community. And as a reaction, you either react to it by projecting negativity onto your surroundings, or you fall into the trap and you feel sorry for yourself and you fall into depression. And that, I feel like these are issues that are not talked about in the bear community or in the gay community in general, but precisely in the bear community, because people who hold the narrative are saying this is what beauty looks like, and if you don't belong to that, you're not beautiful. And I thank God for you guys, and thank God for many people out there saying, no, this is not what the bear community is all about. It's all about body positivity, inclusion, and also not being treated as a sexual object because you're a person of color. Because that's also the thing that people of color have to deal with. When you're a person of color, and you're dealing with, predominantly white people or even your own race, you're seen as a fetish. And these are things that through our clothes or through our message, we want to tear down. These are concepts or narratives that we're trying to change because there's so much to do and there's so much beauty in this community that we have to, talk about it, discuss it, and come to terms with it and change what's toxic and negative about it with time. And I believe in the new generations really correcting the issues of the past. And I'm an optimist. So I just feel like, okay, whatever ways I can contribute in changing the narrative, I'm here. I'll try my best and hope for the best. So
very true. Yeah. How do you develop the business? How did you do the t-shirts? Who creates the designs? Because not just t-shirts, you have other things.
What kind of products do you sell?
So we started out as t-shirts. And so because I have no background in fashion, no professional or academic background, I was looking for ways to start a clothing line, despite my lack of expertise. And thankfully, thank God for the 21st century, there are resources out there where you can design and basically offer your design to a manufacturer that would take care of the final product, the manufacturing, and also the shipping. And so what my business partner and I decided to do is go into these print-on-demand platforms, design our items, and transfer these designs onto Shopify to create an online store. And then with that, we're able to create an online business. And so now we're able to, because we're still growing, we're still a small company, now we're able to grow into home accessories like blankets. And, we're trying to create a broader line of items so that, we're not restricted to just clothing. One of our main goals is to keep the essence of Bears United, the core, significance of inclusion, but make it so the general public can be aware of a bear community and have access to our products so that they know our message and they also adhere to our message by purchasing clothes for their relatives or for themselves. So we're trying to do clothing and home accessories.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
every day.
And how do you do about shipping? For example, we have our T-shirts or stuff. The main problem we have because it's not outsourced, another business here in Canada, they make the T-shirts, but when you do the shipping part, usually it's horrible.
Especially for abroad.
Like for Europe, sometimes it's more expensive the shipping than the product itself. So it's really a challenge to deal with that.
This has been part of our growing pains. We have many. The thing about our business is that we don't have one manufacturer, and our thing is we do print on demand. We don't have any inventory. We just design. The company takes care of the inventory and the printing and the shipping. One of the challenges has been, COVID, shipping during COVID, because some of the items are produced in the US or in, Eastern Europe or in China. So because of that, shipping has gone haywire due to COVID. And so shipping times have been extensively longer because of that. And so it's a dance that we have to go, like it's frustrating because we have to tell our clients, okay, our products used to be delivered within 2 week time, but now it's probably going to be 3 or more. And it's really challenging. And because again, we're a small firm, we're not able to acquire more developed resources to control the shipping. And so we rely our shipping issues on the manufacturer, which is, it's a challenge. And so, in the future, we hope to have enough inventory to control that those issues related to shipping, because we'll be able to ship our inventory from wherever without having the input of a manufacturer or without having to deal with delayed shipping times because there was a factory issue, in a particular country. And so that's what we're trying to head towards, have more inventory and be able to deal with shipping on our own.
And ironically, right when we start end of 2019, and then right after came COVID. It's like, what a bad timing.
Didn't help much
for that to happen.
And I hope your customers understand.
We've been lucky so far. We've been very lucky to have customers who, first of all, not just buy the clothes, but are in love with our concept. Because at the end of the day, it's one thing to just go to a store, an online store, and say, I bought this t-shirt. But it's another to have a clientele and a customer base that says, I love your message. I identify to your design. I identify you with your design, sorry. And I want to see you continue in that journey. And I'll be there and probably buy more merchandise in the future. So keep going. So that's been our motivation, because our clients have been loyal to us. And we've had feedbacks that really motivates us. I have to, give it to my business partner. He's been an incredible force of nature as far as motivating us to keep going, because he belongs to the bear community more so. His input in the bear community is more stringent than me, because I've been to Canada only 2 years. So because of the fact that he was, already in the bear community, we were able to navigate certain issues in a more pragmatic way. And so I really am grateful for first having a great clientele that believes in us, and also having a business partner that understands the message, So, yeah.
Actually, an extra question, because I'm originally from Brazil. I'm here. It's going to be 19 years now.
Yeah, wow.
This week. And how is it for you to, come from another country, move here, and try to adapt to another country, the culture, language, blah, blah, blah. Plus, and then we start a business. How is being? It's more overwhelming than usually. Actually, English is very nice, by the way.
Thank you.
Communicate very, very nice. I mean, it's
very, very well.
Very well.
Thank you. Well, I lived before coming to Canada, I lived in the United States for 13 years. Yeah, about 13 years. So, moving to Canada was a change, but it was a positive change in the sense that the last 2 years in the United States were quite challenging. And I was able to survive these 2 years because I was surrounded by great friends who helped me discover myself and discover what are my aspirations in life were. And so coming to Canada, I was able to gather the support system from the United States and basically apply all these wonderful experiences I had with my friends and family back in the States into my experience in Canada. Now, it wasn't always easy to navigate life in Canada, even though I was in the States, and people tend to assume that, the States and Canada are really similar. As an immigrant, it's an adjustment. And so I was able to, so far I'm doing okay. I'm doing good. The business, again, has been a wonderful journey because I'm passionate about it. I feel like when you start a job or an activity that you're passionate about, the passion will keep you going, will motivate you to keep going further. And this is how I feel. I have a daytime job, which pays the bills, and I'm very grateful for that. But my passion is creating something with a message, something that people can connect to and say, I've never seen that. And this is good because I identify to that message. And so, it's great. And also the thing is, I have a very small circle of friends that not just motivate me and inspire me, but also want me to do well. And that's a very, very good thing because they keep you grounded and help you aspire for better things in life. And so, I'm very grateful for my journey in Canada and the people I was able to meet here.
What are the challenges of opening a business like that, especially that's a more niche? There's so many, let's say, bear clothing lines lately. There's so many different ones. What are the challenges?
One of the core challenges is to advertise and bring clients and have and bring exposure to your brand, right? Because we're so small, we're really on a small budget. And so our ways to advertise are through social media, basically. And so the challenge has always been to get the word out and make sure that people are aware of our company and our message. So that's one issue that we're, trying to manage. The other thing would be, logistics. Like, for example, if you have a crisis with your manufacturer, like something like COVID that creates imbalance in the shipping and the production, you're helpless as a business owner because all your resources are solely based on your manufacturer, And so that's been a challenge in the past year because we rely heavily on our manufacturers. And if something as far as quality of a product or even production goes wrong, we are directly affected. And so that's been an interesting journey to navigate as well. The last one, which is probably the most important one, is to make sure that our message is culturally sensitive. And by that, I mean, I'm African, I'm Black. I live in the US, so I have a knowledge of Black culture. But I also want the message to resonate to Arabic culture and Asian culture and Latino culture and, Polynesian cultures. So in order to do that, I have to create designs that these communities adhere to, can connect with. But you want to create a design, or you want to create designs that are not culturally appropriating and don't feel like not lacking of authenticity. And so that's where we're juggling. So far, we've been concentrating more on Black culture because that's mostly what I know. Pop culture is, it's my food. I love pop culture. And so when it comes to black pop culture, I can use that as a source for my designs. But when I think about these other cultures, I always think of a need to be sensitive to the needs of a culture and also being authentic. Because if you're not authentic in your business and you want to attract the clientele, if it's just money based, it's never going to work. You have to really do the work, do your research, and be genuine about the need to represent that culture. And so these are the challenges that make us, they're exciting because we do more research and we learn more about certain cultures. But at the same time, we're walking a tightrope where we're like, okay, we're thinking of this design, but will that resonate? We're thinking of this particular design, but does it cover all of the subcultures? Because, for example, Arabic culture, there is Arabic culture, but there are subcultures in the Arabic culture. Different countries have different rituals or different imagery and different symbolism within the Arabic community. And so we have to be mindful of embracing all without, having one particular community feeling neglected in our designs. And so that's the balance we're trying to, go through. Like, we're trying to establish that balance.
How do you do the research for that?
Well, we talk to friends. We go on. We talk to friends. We go on Google. We do some research on, documents, historical documents. Ask people of these countries. Hey, we're thinking about doing these designs. What do you think? I've been lucky enough to have friends, that I can go to and say, hey, I'm thinking about this design. Do you think it will cover, the large majority or all the majority of this particular community you belong to? And then they tell me, no, you probably don't want to do that because it's only specific to this country. And so, and that's the beauty of, being surrounded by people of different cultures. You're able to get knowledge about certain part of the history, certain part of the rituals, certain parts of, their culture that you weren't familiar with. And so these are our methods. We usually go to the main sources, the people who originate from these countries or these communities, and we ask them, okay, we want to reach out to, and we want to create designs that you can identify with. Help us.
And have you had any design of something that you worked so hard, in the end, it was almost time to release, realize, maybe it's not a good idea?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a design, especially for, that we thought was paying homage to the Arabic culture. It was a bear with a scarf and with the attire that usually you would see in Saudi Arabia or Dubai, for example. And we felt like that would be a cool design to pay homage to the Arabic culture in general. And then we stopped because, well, first of all, my business partner was like, yeah, you might want to check and ask a whole bunch of people from the Arabic, from the Arabic diaspora and see what they think about it. And when we asked, and the opinions were really different. They were like, that's only for one country. That's a design. That particular pattern is for Saudi Arabia. This particular pattern is from Egypt. This one is from Syria. So we had to shut down the design because we're like, yeah, this is not going to work. And we're still growing. We're still trying to find ways to help, not help, but basically have a message that embodies everybody. And going back to your question, one of the other challenges that we have is to have bigger sizes because, if we rely on manufacturers, they have a set of sizes that usually went from small to 3 or 4 XL. And this is a bare line. We have to have 5, 6, 7 XL, if necessary. So that's one of the challenges that we want to overcome because the message is not just about cultural inclusion. It's also body positivity. We want our bears to look in the mirror and say, I'm wearing this shit and it's awesome and I feel great. So the only way we can attain that is by growing more. Unfortunately, but basically, ironically, generate more profits so that we can have our own inventory. Because if we rely on our manufacturers, we're only set on a specific range of sizes. And that's not what we are about. We want, I remember the only condition my business partner, when I suggested him to join me in that venture, the only condition he had was, I want all sizes, all bear sizes to be available. I want us to work towards having everybody from small to 7XL, if that exists, 7XL, to wear our stuff. That is my only condition. And I couldn't agree more. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find ways to include everybody, to have as many sizes as possible. It's been a challenge, to be honest. It's been a challenge to cover all our clientele, because that's one of the main issues we've been dealing with lately. But again, we're working towards getting our own inventory, or we're talking also to manufacturers that produce, print on demand for, bigger sizes, because that's what we're trying to do. But it is a very tough challenge.
Imagine. Polemic question. Do you think the bear community is racist?
No. That's no. To paint the bear community as a racist community is like, basically, how do I put this? It's like painting an entire race as this. It's not a monolith. The bear community is not a monolith. There are issues in the bear community. Like I said, there are issues related to self-acceptance, mental health, body positivity, race. People are barely able to talk about race in general, concept of race and why certain communities are doing the things they do, why certain communities are asking for more inclusion or more equity. So that narrative in itself, in general, is hard in any community. And the bear community is not exempt to that. There are race issues when it comes to the bear communities or the gay community in general. There are things that, as people of color, we have in common as far as how people see us. How we are fetishized or how we are objectified, and reduced to just sexual beings. But like I said, it's a family. And, there are bad apples in every family. There are people who need help. There are people who need serious mental help. There are discussions that needed to be, set in place in order to have a better understanding of, create empathy. I think that's the thing that we're struggling with as far as the bear community. There is a certain lack of empathy, and we live in a world and in times where empathy is seen sometimes as a weakness. And so I think that dialogue needs to be at the forefront. How do you empathize with the community, whether it's the Black community, whether it's indigenous community, that is telling you, we're not being seen, we're suffering, we're dying at the hands of people in power. There's systemic racism that is set in place that is not allowing us to thrive, or we're being seen as sexual objects. Can we talk about it? And most of the time, people who feel like, because nobody holds the narrative, but people who feel like they hold the narrative and feel like they're the voice of the community don't want to talk about it, because the people who are seen as the leaders or the more presentable people in the community, like in the bear community, don't want to have these discussions because they don't want to be challenged. They don't want to be put to task as far as, oh, there is a problem. If there is a problem, I need to be held accountable for this problem. And they don't want to do that. And so, yeah, there is a whole lot of issues in our community that need to be discussed, but there's little to no effort as far as wanting to discuss it. So if I may make a suggestion, because that's the thing, like that's one of the things that motivated me to create Bears United. When I went into IG pages that are pro Bears, there were very little colors and very few people of colors. And I understand, for example, if there is no demand, you're running on likes and clicks and people adhering to your website. So if there is no demand, you can't do anything. Your hands are tied. What I would say is maybe reach out to us, because sometimes we don't feel included because we're not seeing it. But if there's, people who own these sites say, hey, everybody is accepted. Everybody, please, if you feel like you don't feel included, reach out to us. And that's why I reach out to you guys, because I was like, oh, these are cool guys. I would love to be featured. So, and plus, I would like to be one of the few dark-skinned men in their pages. That way, somebody who looks like me can say, hey, dark-skinned guy. So maybe I should go and ask them to be featured. Yeah, I mean, I can assure you that there are many people that I know, and I don't know a lot of people. There are many people that I know and that I see who just would love to be featured, but because they're not seeing themselves in certain posts, are saying, they're probably not. Like, it's like when you go on dating app and you see a hot guy, and you're not feeling confident that the hot guy is going to say yes or respond to you. You're like, why bother? He's too hot for me. Same thing. It's like they don't feel like, okay, they're probably not going to say yes, or they're probably not going to respond out of fear or out of lack of confidence. And so, what I would like is like seeing people, indigenous people being featured. Indigenous people, I mean, Indian people, like everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you guys are on the right track, and it's a learning curve for everybody. As long as there's good intention and there's actually an effort made to feature as many people as possible, you'll be fine. I have a funny story for you guys. So part of our way to advertise our product is through dating apps, precisely Growler. So what I was doing, primarily me, is I would post pictures of my products and put in the written description, this is my website, please, check it out. And on Growler, they have these things called Flash, where you can, send it to as many people in different locations. One time I put my photo first as an experiment. I put my photo first. And then I put, the second photo as the photo of my business partner, who is, redheaded with a big beard, muscle chaser. And I put all other pictures following that. And one message I got was very interesting, because not even one, it was a couple, like 3 or 4, where people were like, you should remove your picture as the main picture and put the hot Viking, being my business partner. You should put the hot Viking first and put your picture last, because you're not attractive. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's a reality. People project their insecurities onto others because that's their defense mechanism, or because they don't know any better. You have to build a sense of self-confidence when you enter a world, like when you enter a community, any community. It doesn't keep me from, continuing my message. It doesn't keep me or my business partner from doing the things we have to do, because there's a lot of work to do in the bear community. There's a lot of dialogue to start. We can only contribute through our work. You through your, the different platforms you have, me through, whatever I'm trying to enterprise. So yeah, there will always be people, and they're not bad people. If you think about it, they're just people who are not self-confident and project their insecurities in a certain type of way because they don't know any better.
You notice that your logo or the name Bears United, there's the BE and then U.
Mm-hmm.
I guess mean be you.
Be yourself, be you, yeah.
How did you come up with that? What was the...
Full credit to my business partner. He is a master of finding catchy phrases. We were both brainstorming, and we were just trying to figure out a name for the company. We had a whole bunch of names, and we're like, "Oh, Bears United," and actually, be you, which is a message like be yourself, and yeah, that was he caught that, and boom, we were like, "This is it. This is what we're gonna go with."
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
And what are your plans for the future? What's your next steps for you guys?
Main priority: make big sizes. That's the main priority. Just that is in the center of our goal. Offer bigger sizes to our items, which means probably getting inventory on our own. We're trying to have as many items and broader items as possible. So we're trying to open a line for kids, for women, in addition to the home accessories. But the long-term goal, we want to have exposure in retail, have items and products in different stores, and also participate in every or as many bear event as possible. That is a big goal of ours. Have our
Bears in excess.
Right. Bingo, exactly. So, bear convergence or, whatever it is, insidious, anything. We're trying to get the word out that the bear community needs to include everybody. And so, yeah, this is important to us, and we're working hard on it. It's tough because, we have our lives and our full-time jobs and, everything related to that. But, the motivation, the passion is our motivation, and we're, small steps, but we're getting there.
And became a famous question. I can't resist doing this.
Yes.
So if you could go back to 2019 or when we start opening, I have an idea. If you could meet the John from that time, what could you suggest to him? Like, with your experience now, what would you tell him to that one?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I know.
It's the journalist in him.
I would tell him, well, if I could warn him about COVID, that would be a good thing. I would tell him, be patient, because I'm not necessarily patient sometimes. Be patient and stay on message, because there is something great to look forward to at the end. And when I started the company, I was in a bad place mentally. There was a lot of doubts whether or not I should stay in Toronto, or, a whole lot of things. And it was pretty intense. And so I would just tell him there's definitely, it gets better. It really gets better. And keep working hard, because people are going to love what you do. So yeah, that's what I would tell him. In addition to tell him, yeah, by the way, there's going to be COVID, so you're going to deal with some, tough stuff.
Invite our viewers to, how can they find you, how to reach you?
We are on, well, my personal IG is BearCND, BEHRCND. My company's Instagram is bears.united.canada. And our website, we're still working on the domain. We're trying to buy a domain to have bearsunited.com. But for now, our website is bears-united.shopify.com. But we're working on that. We're work in progress. Follow us on IG. Follow me. Follow our brand. And we have a link on our bio for our website. We know the brand, the name of the website is long, but you'll find us. If there is a way, if there is a willing, there's a way. So yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I mean, I love your Instagram page. I believe you guys are doing a fantastic job for the community, and I'm really grateful for spreading the word about inclusion and body positivity and acceptance. and also for having me and for allowing me to exchange with you, because I don't get to have, neither my business partner or I are able to have these exchanges because, you know, COVID. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys, and
So here you are. Have a great chat with Jean. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jean.
It was so nice to meet you, to chat with you, to get to know your story and the idea behind Bears United.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
So check it out. Follow them and also follow us, like the video. If you have a business in a gay community, a bear community, let us know.
Yeah, we could do the same with you.
Yes, because I think it's important to support, to promote. There's so many things going on.
Especially in these difficult times.
Yes, so let's support each other.
Yes.
So, like I said, follow us, like us, post a comment, spread the word about us,
Yes, please.
And the most important is...
Stay fluffy.